Hey everybody, Happy New Year, since this is the first video I'm doing in 2020. Um, Thank you, by the way, to the many cities my son and I were happy to visit. In last year's lecture tour in October and November, we covered 13,120 miles. And we, we really enjoyed meeting some new friends and seeing some of our old friends. And we had a tremendously successful tour. We went as far west as Vegas and as far east as good old New York City, and we did 21 other cities in between. So it's a lot of driving, but we had a great time. Kevin had always said to me he wanted to do a tour with me, and boy, I'm glad, because I always wanted to do a tour with him. So thank you very much for making that such a successful tour. And thank you to Scott Wells as well for setting that up. And it means a lot. I was thinking on the tour about something, what I would do in 2020 on my YouTube channel, and I thought it would be interesting to start off with something that's very near and dear to my heart, something that's been under lock and key for my whole career since 1976. The only people that have seen this has been my family. Nobody else has even seen the original. It's the letter that Slydini wrote to me on his typewriter. I typed it. He dictated what he wanted me to type, and I did that. And I'd like to show it to you and introduce you to it today. I'm very proud of it, and I think you'll see why I'm so proud of it once I read it to you. In 1976, Slydini's new books came out. Originally it was called The Magic of Slydini and More. But I talked to the publisher, and they had mentioned 1976 that they were going to change the title because there was a copyright infringement, I believe. So they changed the title the same month to The Best of Slydini and More. And you'll see why, because in the letter he mentions it as The Best of Slydini and More. But it was originally the Magic of Slydini. I think there were about 110 copies, from what I remember him telling me. So it's a pretty unique item. He came out with it, and after, I guess, about 2 years of working on it with Carl Fulvis and Tannins, a lot of work. I remember Carl Fulvis said he never wanted to do this again. It was so much work, but he enjoyed it. He did such a great job, and I thank you for Carl for including me and letting me help with the book. There were two magicians involved with this first set. The new set, another set came out later, a couple of years later, The Magical World of Slydini. But in this set, there were only two magicians, myself and another gentleman called Michael Pizzola. He's a magician and also an attorney. Anyway, so I remember Slydini said to me at one lesson, I showed up, and he said, you know, I'm going to ask you something. Do you ever want to lecture? And I said, lecture? He said, yeah, you want to lecture? Because I had already studied with him since 1973, and he knew I had a few tricks that I'd come up with, and he liked them. And so I said, yeah, I would love to lecture sometimes, sometime. And he said, well, now. I said, what? He said, I'd like to have you go around the United States and Canada and around the world, hopefully, and show everybody how my magic is supposed to be done. And I never forgot that. And he went over to this little desk table area, and he had a little typewriter underneath it, took it out, opened it up, put it on the table. He gave me a sheet of letterhead, and I put it into the typewriter. And he said, in fact, this is the actual letter on his letterhead that he gave to me that day, 44 years ago. And it meant a lot to me, and it still does. And I'm going to read it for you in a second, but let me just say one thing to you first. That this letter is the only one he ever wrote for any student. And I'm very proud of that, because it meant he had a lot of confidence in me, and he wanted me to teach his magic the way he taught it to me. And I remember at that time, after 3 years, I had really studied it hard with him. We spent hundreds of hours, hundreds. I took over 120 lessons, and each lesson was anywhere from 3 to 5 to sometimes longer hours. So we worked on it, and he never, ever did anything with me other than magic. It was always magic, teaching. And I remember I used to write everything down until he told me I could audio tape them, which that's another video coming up. I have tons of audio tapes, which he let me have, which I think you'll be interested in, but that's another video. Anyway, so I'd like to read this letter to you if it's okay, and you'll see how special it is to me, and you'll know why. Okay. Slydini, Studio of Magic. Suite 111, 341 West 45th Street, New York, New York, 10014, 212-581-0179. Dear President, a few words to let you and the members of your Magic Club know that one of my best students, William Wisch, will be giving a lecture tour from coast to coast in the near future. The reason I am recommending him to you is because I have confidence that he will please you with success. In William's lecture, he will perform many beautiful effects of his own. Besides, a number of my effects will be presented, which I have never exposed in any lecture before. Those effects are included in my new book, The Best of Slydini and More, which just came out. Sincerely yours, Slydini. I'm very honored to have that letter. I'm very proud to have that letter. And I wanted everybody to see the original for the first time. I have had a copy on my wall. I made a copy many years ago when I first brought the original to a printer and had him print up the copies that I did send out with the information for the tour. And back in the 70s, 1977, I kept a copy, the copy that one of those copies, and I put it on the wall next, so that's what I've always displayed. But this one, the original, has always been under lock and key, protected. It's the only only letter, like I said before, that he ever wrote to any student. So I'm very, very, very proud of that. So I'm going to end this video by saying the magic of Slydini will go on forever, and the magic of magic will go on forever. It's meant to be joyful. It's meant to be wonderful, just like Tony Slydini was. And if you like this video, please let me know, like it, and subscribe if you would, if you like to see the new content that's coming up. It's meant a lot to me to read this to you today, and I thank you for watching, and thank you for understanding that it means a lot. So, Happy New Year once again. Thanks for watching, and stay well.